This video is brought to you by Raid Shadow Legends. Guys, look, Raid has put together a Christmas gift for all new players through holiday season, so get ready to celebrate the 12 days of Raid. Just download Raid from the link below. Copy your player ID from in-game, then go to 12daysofraid.com to get holiday-themed Raid champions and even Amazon gift cards worth up to $1,000. MMA fans, Ronda Rousey is now your very own Raid champion. She's a real threat on the battlefield with a bunch of multi-hit skills, making her perfect for taking on bosses like the Fire Knight and shutting down those super tough arena teams. You can get Ronda for free right now. Just play Raid for 7 days between now and February 20th and enter the promo code RAIDRONDA in-game so all of these goodies can be yours. And if you haven't started playing Raid yet, click on my link in the description or scan my QR code right here on the screen. You'll get unique bonuses worth $30. We're talking a free epic champion, Tyrell, 200k in silver, 1 energy refill, and 1 XP boost, and 1 ancient shard, so you can summon awesome champions as soon as you get in game. All this treasure will be waiting for you here at 12daysofraid.polarium.com. Jeff Neal is out. Says he won't be fighting Rakhmonov in a couple of weeks. Rakhmonov is 16-0. If I'm wrong, it's 15-0, but it's all finishes. Knocked out 8 guys, submitted 7 guys. However the math works out, all finishes. I mean, it's really remarkable talent. Rakhmonov has just had a hard time getting exposure. I love to talk about him. I find him to be an extremely talented guy. Future championship quality. I don't know if Rakhmonov's his first name, his last name, or a nickname. And that isn't my fault. That's his. Right? That's this kind of one piece of the puzzle that he's still working his way through. And Jeff Neal would have been a very meaningful opponent. If you're in the ring and you're fighting Jeff Neal, however that goes, you're going to be remembered. But Jeff is one of those guys that makes people stop, makes people watch. So, a big opportunity missed. And one of the reasons I bring it up, I don't know if they're going to keep him on the card. Who's going to fill in for Jeff Neal should be the conversation that we're having. I don't know if it is. Because guys don't want to fight, believe me. They say they want to fight. They love it when that's in headlines. They love to be talked about in that vein. And these fighters all want to fight until there's some fighting to do. I've never quite seen anything like it. There is no better path to the big time than to be ready on short notice. Like if you're a 170 pounder and you're on the regional scene, you're trying to break in, you're trying to get in the Dana White Contender Series, maybe just for an example, you're trying to get onto the Ultimate Fighter, just for example, you're trying to win enough matches to get discovered by Sean Shelby and Mick Maynard. That's good stuff, and I've been in your shoes, and I really feel for you, and I know what a competitive business it is. But if that's you at 170 pounds and you have not reached out to the UFC to tell them, I will fight Rakhmonov in 2 weeks. If you haven't done that for whatever your excuse is, I'm not ready, I didn't train hard enough, guy, I can't make weight that quickly, whatever your excuse is. But it's time to have a real good look at the man in the mirror. And to really ask yourself, is this what I want to do? Now, one guy did speak up. And wouldn't you know, it was Kevin Lee. And Kevin Lee was actually doing a different interview that just happened to come out at the same time that Neal announces he's not going to be fighting Rakhmonov. And Kevin Lee was offering and saying that he would like to fight Chimaev. And Kevin Lee had a very tough exit from the UFC. At least for me. As a Kevin Lee fan, I had a hard time with it. Back the tape up, Kevin Lee was a 55-pounder. He hurt his knee. He was out of the cage for a meaningful amount of time. He returns from an injury at a weight class that he hadn't competed in yet. I mean, things generally aren't that smooth as sailing. Turned out his opponent was a straight-up badass, but he didn't quite have a name. So people didn't quite realize at the time why Kevin got beat. I'm just sharing for you. if Kevin Lee is willing to go in there and fight Rakhmonov and nobody else is, I hope that he's considered for the opportunity. That's what I'm sharing. You always ask me, where's Kevin Lee fit into all this? I think it's an interesting proposition. I don't know that there's a better idea. I don't know that by the time I make this piece and get it to you guys, or even by the time the event rolls around in a couple of weeks, I don't know that Rakhmonov's going to stay on the card. Because I don't know of a guy that I can think of that would step in and face him. You get the guys that are already signed to the UFC. Those are your really big excuse makers. Oh, God, I'd love to do, geez, I just can't, the date and with the new year coming, Is there any other time? Oh, man, I saw his fight fell apart. Oh, God, my shoulder wasn't hurting. Boy, I was going to text you. I was going to ask you if I could do that fight. But, I got to be smart, though. I got to be smart. I got this shoulder. So it's very hard to turn to somebody that's already there. You've got to turn to somebody who wants an opportunity, who wants to fight Rakhmonov. They're going to take one look at that. They're going to see that he's 15 or 16 fights with a big old goose egg over there, and he finished everybody, and I want it, but I don't want it that bad. I mean, I'm really not attempting to put people down, by the way. I'm just making a prediction for you as to what's going to happen. And I want you to take what's going to happen, and I want you to juxtapose it against what could happen. What would happen if somebody called? What would happen for those guys that are on the cusp, right? Because there's guys on the cusp, if you will, that are already identified. We just don't know about them yet. They're already in the year. They've already been told by the matchmakers, hey, go out, get one more. Hey, go get a couple more. Hey, we're completely full right now, but we know who you are. We're seeing you. If one of those guys that's already on the tip of the tongue was to send a text and or an email and or a phone call and say, I'll do it. I'll take on Rakhmonov. There's guys out there with beautiful records that we don't know about. I mean, believe me, there's guys that are 9-0. There's guys that are 11-0. There's guys that are 13-2. They've got these beautiful records. All they need is an opportunity, and the opportunity is here. It appears to be here right now. And if those guys aren't calling, and I'm just guessing, I don't know, the guys that are already signed aren't asking for the chance. One guy spoke up. His name's Kevin Lee. And Kevin Lee versus Rakhmonov, I know who the favorite would be. But let's not pretend that that's not still an interesting fight.